Little NBA slate today on the second to last regular season splash play NBA of the year. We're still going to do what we always do here on this channel, and that's strap in. Here are my projections, some of the industry leaders out there, like Stokastic, like our friends at Unabated. We'll also pop over to Unabated, see what the best bets are. By the end of this video, you'll know the best DFS lineups, the best bets, and my splash plays for today's NBA slate. Let's get into it. No Q-tag tweet today because, in fact, there's really nobody questionable worried about besides one guy, Giannis Antetokounmpo. He's questionable. She wrote it up today for the DK Network. Thanks to our friends at Unabated, too. Talk about what happens there. Basically, instant boost in projections to Kyle Kuzma, to Brook Lopez, to Ryan Rollins. You'd also see Bobby Portis looking pretty good again after he played 29 minutes just about last time in his return to the lineup. He'd be in a good situation. Probably still wouldn't start, but in run potential there to get good run if Giannis is out today. So as it is right now, Giannis, your top projected player in the slate, 62% ownership expected by Stokastic in their morning run of data. It's not been updated so far yet today, but I got him 56%. So big Giannis stand here. It can be very easy to get to him for a lot of reasons. That's supposed to be the case. What the fucking end of NBA season here? Go away. Go away. Alfred doesn't look the same as in the thumbnail. No, because that is, in fact, Ty Jerome, who's a much better player than Elfrid Payton. But we'll talk about the Pelicans in a moment there because basically they're playing 8 guys today. That's where we are right now. Karl Anthony Towns. We got 44% ownership for the field. I'm getting him at 75%. You have no Josh Hart today, no OG Anunoby today. Court time without those guys in the past so far this year. Towns hasn't played a lot without both guys, really the entire team. Obviously, those guys have played more minutes than not. But Towns with both Anunoby and Hart off the court, 34% usage, 24% rebound rate, 12% assist rate, 1.55 fantasy points per minute for Towns. So basically thrusting him to that upper echelon of points per minute producers. A guy like Giannis, normally going to be about 1.65. Obviously, Jokic would be your highest tier, about 1.78, 1.8, somewhere in that range. For Karl Anthony Towns, though, at 9,700, strong play today. I would say if you're not getting him, getting more Brunson, getting more Achua, getting more, I guess, Mikal Bridges. I really don't like Bridges that much. Getting more of those guys would be logical, but Towns should absorb a good amount of the usage. The Knicks, I really don't know what they're playing for, but they are still going to be playing today, it looks like. Cade Cunningham at number 3. So 8% for the field. I'm getting 9%. Not a big stand there. Cade is playing for something. Part of the reason that Giannis might play today is that Detroit can pass the Bucks up, take over, I believe, the 6th spot. Hold on, where is it? I was looking at that before the show when I was writing up my DraftKings article. Rather DK Network article. Yeah, so the Pistons can catch the Bucks theoretically. They both have 3 games left. Pistons are 2 games back of the Bucks. So that's why the Pistons should be full go today. Bucks also could be going with Giannis, but unclear. Unclear how much the Pistons care about, or excuse me, how much the Bucks would care about if they fell down a spot, if they had to play, the Knicks instead of the Pacers. I don't know if that matters to the Bucks. So Bucks motivations and questions, Pistons motivation should not be in question. They've been playing hard for basically the entire run of the season. So for Cade Cunningham, it's the one thing you're getting with him that maybe you're not getting with a Giannis, with a Karl Anthony Towns. Still not crazy about Cade, but 10%, whatever you want to get there seems fine. Shouts to chats as well. Appreciate our normal guests here as opposed to the first guy being surly for no fucking reason. Like, I don't know what it is. The guy yesterday with Quentin Grimes, by the way, who crushed again yesterday. So March 24th, never forget. But Quentin Grimes got his sweet revenge, and he never forgot getting the trash talk yesterday in chat. But I don't know just what it is. Like, I feel like this channel has been a really dose of daylight, sunlight in my days for the most part. And then I guess people are just angry at the end of NBA season, taking it out on old poor Spags here. He's been doing great work. We got Jalen Brunson, 33% in the top 150 for me again for Brunson. Same thing we talked about the Knicks. You take out Hart, you take out Anunoby. Those are 2 high usage guys, 2 high minutes guys as well that open up a lot of opportunities because they'll be being replaced by guys basically don't do anything out there. For Jalen Brunson, if you're not getting Towns, I think it becomes a lot more appealing. You can play both together as well at that Brunson $8,800 price tag, and it'll be very easy, frankly, to afford today. Giannis, Towns, Brunson, I think you can get all 3 if you want. Pushing forward probably be a bit much, but you can get 3 high-dollar guys today, and it's really not anything that's too difficult to do in your lineups. Trae Young getting about 15% here. Fields at 26% according to Stokastic. Again, another guy like Cade Cunningham doesn't project super well, but certainly projects well enough to get some. I feel like relative to my projections here, where I have Trae Young as a 4.5x value, Cade as a 4.4x, getting a little more level on these guys would be logical. I don't know why the projections are favoring Trae Young this much, but I presume he works a little bit more easily in lineups than Cade Cunningham does at his price tag. Trae Young, though, 26% for him. Sure. Anthony Edwards, 25% for him. I'm getting at 23. One of the positives of Anthony Edwards is that you will get some lineup flexibility with that being the last game on the slate, Minnesota and Memphis. And if Giannis is out, you're going to have to spend that money somewhere. So Anthony Edwards might get actually higher owned as the slate goes on, because if Giannis is ruled out, people will then be panicking, swapping to nobody in New Orleans because there isn't anybody even above 5K you can play in that game on the New Orleans side. For Milwaukee, there's not really any pay-up options because you don't have Lillard anymore. Your pay-up option would be Kyle Kuzma at almost 7K, and that's not really a pay-up. And frankly, also probably still not a good play even if Giannis is out. So you're going to end up getting a lot more Anthony Edwards, maybe some Julius Randle, some John Morant, some Desmond Bane, some Jaren Jackson. That's basically what's going to end up happening if Giannis ends up rolled out. People are just going to swap to that Milwaukee-Minnesota game, or excuse me, the Minnesota-Memphis game. Too many M's. But as it is right now, 25% for Anthony Edwards feels fine. Just keep in mind that he could be really chalky if Giannis ends up out. Okongwu here, getting him in 12%, Fields at 9.5. The rate boost that he gets with the various Hawks are no longer available for the team has always been pretty prominent. He and also Dyson Daniels benefit a little bit more than Trae Young, but all these guys look fine enough today. Certainly the field's getting more Trae Young. If Okongwu were to smash, probably wouldn't pull from Trae Young as directly as Dyson Daniels would, but maybe does a little bit. We got Ty Jerome here. So Ty Jerome on the thumbnail today. No Donovan Mitchell, no Evan Mobley, no Darius Garland. The two guards are the key part of that. Ty Jerome has not been in a situation this year other than the preseason where both Mitchell and Garland were out. The assumption is that Ty Jerome's going to play at least this 27.5 minutes as Stokastic gives him. He has played up to 36 minutes in a game this year. I don't know the exact situation that was. We're just going through the game logs, and again, seeing a minute ceiling is kind of what we're looking for the most part. If he plays 35 minutes today, he's going to put up like 45 fantasy points would be my guess. If he plays 25 minutes today, he'll still probably give you about 30 fantasy points, would also be my guess. So I don't see the downside in playing Ty Jerome. He's likely going to be borderline a lock for me. This morning was projected for 83% ownership. I am in 94%. Practically, I'll probably play 100 when I actually get my lineups in today. Craig Porter, I don't know why Craig Porter would scare you. He's really not good enough. And if anything, he would just play minutes in addition to Ty Jerome. Ty Jerome is like the guy they go to in a situation like this, unless they're going to rest Ty Jerome here. And is Cleveland on back-to-back? Let's look up their schedule real fast. Cavaliers schedule. So that'd be the only way. All right, so they do have another game tomorrow at 7:30. So that's probably the season finale, playing for Mitchell, Garland, and Mobley would be my guess. There's a chance they could limit Ty Jerome, but you're going to play him naturally less minutes anyway, because you're going to have most likely at least one of Mitchell or Garland tomorrow. I would say probably a decent chance of both. I don't think Ty Jerome's at risk, but there is a back-to-back tomorrow. So if you want, I don't think that's still the reason to play Craig Porter Jr., but I guess that would make him more appealing theoretically. I still wouldn't sweat Ty Jerome because of Craig Porter Jr. I would sweat Ty Jerome more because maybe the back-to-back makes him cap his minutes at like 28 as opposed to giving him 35. But even still at 4,700, he should go nuts. He's averaged without the various Cavs that are unavailable. Ty Jerome's averaged 1.4 fantasy points a minute, about 400 possessions, with 32.5% usage and a 30% assist rate. He's also had 65% true shooting, so a little bit unsustainable shooting, but like the fact he's able to shoot that well with the star players off the court. Ty Jerome just gets shots, can get buckets, so I really do like Ty Jerome here. Can't be more clear about that. He's a lock button play for me. Carlo Makovic here. So I had to do the updates for New Orleans' minutes on my own because Stokastic hasn't updated. For whatever reason, they're just not updating till like right before the slate's really in action. You're getting starting lineups in. So I had to take out Alvarado, had to take out Bruce Brown, had to take out Missy. Carlo Makovic has been playing your backup center minutes behind Missy. So my assumption is that Makovic gets a start. He's probably your starting center. He also might be playing some 4 because they're down enough guys with Missy out. They still have Kyler Kelly, still have Jeremiah Robinson Earl, still have Carlo Makovic. That's it. That's it big wise because no Olynyk in today. So Makovic, I think, is your big winner overall. Court time without really every Pelican who's unavailable today. Still about 240 possessions. Makovic has averaged 1.2 fantasy points a minute on 72% true shooting. He's been really good. So I think in terms of what this will look like when actually everything's updated Stokastic-wise, because basically running their morning sim, you can't get as much Makovic because they didn't expect him to be a key play from the last time their data updated. I would think I would get 100% Ty Jerome, basically, 100% Makovich, basically, because these guys, like if they quote unquote fail, if Makovich gets me 30 fantasy points, you still paid off at 4,600. Same thing for Ty Jerome at 4,700. I think these two are, in my opinion, the best two players in the slate. In terms of the outcomes they have and how likely they are or unlikely they are to kill you, even if they do quote unquote fail, would think that this is a spot for them looking good no matter what with Jerome and Makovich. 36 minutes with OT, so good. So then the minute ceiling's probably more like 31 then. So keep that in mind. And updated finally a few minutes ago. Okay, so we'll check Stokastic's data when we get there. For now, though, we can see how my assumptions compare to what they have, I guess. Tyrese Halliburton right behind Makovich in terms of projection. I've been low on Halliburton all year. It's the case again today. Price tag coming up for him doesn't make me want to play him very much. Same thing, I guess, on paper for a matchup today with Cleveland in this kind of current position. But if you believe Cleveland can hang into it, maybe that makes Halliburton more appealing because Ty Jerome, Hunter, some combo they're in. Maybe Jared Allen gets a little bit more going with shots at the rim. If Cleveland is in this game into the fourth quarter, Halliburton probably performed a little bit better than he would normally against a slightly depleted Cavs rotation at this point. I'm just trying to make a case for Halliburton because I don't really know what the reason for me to play him would be, but I would say if you're playing a bunch of Cavs, maybe you play Halliburton as a bring back and hope that he hits a ceiling, in kind of that situation. Ja Morant, another guy who will be probably swapping to if Giannis is out. So I ran through his rates since Taylor Jenkins got fired. He's had a little bit more usage, but a little bit lower assist rate. So he really hasn't been a better player. The big difference for the Grizzlies so far, and it's only been about 4 games. I forget what the possession number was, but not anywhere near the sample size we want to have. Everybody else is shooting a little bit less. So Bane's usage has been down. Jackson's usage has been down. Vince Williams' usage has been down to absolutely nothing. Really, the main thing that Ja Morant's doing right now is consolidating possessions more, which is kind of what we thought it would be. Based upon the reports that were out there, they wanted to run more pick and rolls with Ja having the ball in his hands more. It's kind of been the case, but it hasn't been the case enough to materially change how I would project Ja Morant. So I'm low on him right now. If Giannis is out, I'll take whatever pay up options are there when we get there. But for right now, Ja Morant to me, only 1% of my lineups have him. Fields at 5%. I'm going to sort by value here. And again, going to see a lot of Pelicans coming up because they have an 8-man rotation. You don't get that kind of opportunity very often. I know we have in the chat sometimes and, in the general, the Discord as well, which of course you can join by joining the channel down below, then click the link. You get added to Discord immediately. There are people that are going to be worried about the Pelicans, they're what? Everybody's going to play them. They're not going to be good enough. The reality is when you take out legitimately the top 8 or 9 guys in the rotation now, it might actually be 10 with Missy and the various other guys being ruled out. You're taking out basically the entire actual rotation. You're playing just an 8-man rotation of all these guys who are not normally playing a bunch. But frankly, a few of them are pretty good scorers. You should be getting in lineups tonight 3 Pelicans, I think at least 2, but probably more 3, 4 Pelicans. And then you just kind of change your pay up options around that. It's possible another configuration will end up working better. Let's say only Antonio Reeves and Makovich hit, and then you spend up for a bunch of other guys around them along, with Ty Jerome and whatever. That's something that can happen as well. But it feels to me, based on all the data I ran before the show, think you're probably looking at 4 Pelicans in a lineup, and that should be it. If you're playing cash games at this point of the year, God bless you, first of all. Second of all, you should be playing pretty much every Pelican because they're all just too cheap. They're all not priced for the situation at all. Quinones in play, but not as much as in play as Antonio Reeves. So Antonio Reeves, the other game with a few different Pelicans in the backcourt out. Reeves played just shy of 38 minutes. So I'm giving him 38 minutes here because I don't know where else the minutes can go at this point. Reeves should start. He's been a good producer before in a similar situation. Unfortunately, he's 4K this time as opposed to 3K when he broke the slate for us about the halfway point of the season here before the All-Star break. I got him in 72% of my lineups, Fields at 15%. That number could come up even higher. I don't think he's as much of a lock button play as Ty Jerome and Makovich are, but I do think he's pretty close to it. And if you told me I couldn't play any of these 3 guys or I had to play all 3 in every lineup, I would play all 3 in every lineup and be okay with it and try to get unique somewhere else. Might have been a UI, I'm the KY, but I just know in general it's the industry, especially if people are getting this butthurt in the chat this time of year. I think we need to talk about some of the DFS principles at this point. But yes, I would not say fading the Pelicans to move. Even if you only limited yourself to 1 Pelican, I think you can't fade the Pelicans today. Carlo Makovich, we talked about. We'll get a lot more of him when the data is updated. Ty Jerome, we talked about enough already. He's a great play. He's been a great play in a lot of slates. Much like Quentin Grimes, much like Miles Bridges, these are guys that I've gotten a lot throughout the year, and they're guys I'm pretty comfortable now taking that. Their time is in the limelight again. Ty Jerome's been a beast this year. He'd be my 6th man of the year if I had the choice. Ty Jerome is it. You prefer Brooks or Elf? I mean, they're pretty close here. So I've got Elf at 32.5, Brooks at 32.9, similar values here. I have no real read here on which one's going to be the better play. Elf has not been shooting at all lately for New Orleans. He hasn't gotten over 10 shots, I think, this entire year. Let me fact check that. So I was going through the game logs a little bit before. So Elfrid Payton in recent games, 3 shots in 23 minutes, 3 shots in 28 minutes, 3 shots in 20 minutes, 4 shots in 21 minutes, 7 shots in 19, 7 shots in 23, 8 shots in 25. Scrolling all the way down. His first stint in New Orleans, he put up 11 shots twice, but not since he was in Charlotte or the second stint with New Orleans has he gotten up 10 or more shots. The big thing for Elfrid Payton is he's probably going to get assists today. So I would have him actually with all the various Pelicans off the court, have him at about a 50% assist rate. I think that's about right for him. If he plays 30 minutes, he should still get there. And if he hits some shots, he might actually break the slate. But the issue is like he was really not been getting shots up at all. We talked about when he was on Charlotte, where he was basically not shooting deliberately the entire game, it would seem. Now he's doing the same thing in New Orleans. Now he's back there, and they seemingly are more open to him shooting. At this point, though, you have so few guys left. I have to assume if he's going to get to double-digit shot attempts, it's going to be today. But it hasn't even been close lately, so that's the risk for Elfrid Payton. Keon Brooks, I think a different kind of player overall. Elfrid Payton's going to get there largely through assists, maybe some steals, rebounds, and all that. Brooks is still a guy that per 100 possessions should put up 20 points for comparison. Elfrid Payton per 100 possessions puts up about 8.4 points. So I think Keon Brooks is in play. I think if you're going to choose guys that are just like pure scorers on New Orleans, it would be Brooks, it would be Reeves, it'd be Lester Quinones, who I think Chris in the chat was talking about before. Those guys get shots up. They're all pretty decent true shooters, above average. So I think that that's fine to me. To me, you're going to end up playing both. You're going to play Elfrid Payton. You're going to play Keon Brooks in a good amount when everything kind of finalizes a little bit. And that's true. The multi-position eligibility does help Brooks out a little bit more. But similar price tags, similar value metrics. I think they both are strongly in play. And I would throw out my sim numbers right now because I think Elfrid Payton will end up getting into like 40%, 50% of lineups. Probably the same for Keon Brooks. Reeves, I think, will be more owned around this 60%, 70% number that I've got. Jeremiah Robinson Earl. So he has to play minutes as well because they only have 3 big men splitting the 4 and 5 minutes. Robinson Earl has played a max of 32 minutes this year. So that's what I gave him today at 3,300. Again, these guys have to play concentrated minutes. It's possible that you see a few more shaded Kyler Kelly's way. Maybe like Makovich, Robinson Earl, and Kelly get all closer to like high 20s. But they have to play a lot of minutes no matter what. So Robinson Earl in play, got him in 6%, but that number will be higher once we actually run things with the updated data on Stokastic Sims. Precious Achiuwa. So he's got to get minutes as well because of having Anunoby and Josh Hart out. The issue for Precious Achiuwa, he's actually been a worse player with those guys off the court in a really jarring way. So Precious Achiuwa has played the most minutes with Josh Hart and with OG Anunoby off, 476 possessions. He's averaged 14% usage, a 12.5% rebound rate, 0.74 fantasy points a minute. So he's been effectively really awful. And in fact, doing less on the court than those guys do, just one of them, let alone both of them. So I don't know that Achiuwa is actually as good of a play as the 77% ownership going his way. I get why it works out the way it does. If he plays 31 and a half minutes, he's going to fall into enough stats to look usable. But I would worry about the downside a little bit for Achiuwa. I am not crazy about the situation for him at 77% owned. Got him at 57%. He's going to get into some lineups, but I don't think he's a lock button play to me. Like it seems like people are at least going to be treating it as of this morning's update of data. Who do I like between Edie, KPJ? I'm not there yet. I appreciate the question. Save it if you can until we get through the entire slate because I don't know offhand. Kind of just go through the value metrics here. We go to the top projected through the value stuff. We kind of land where we go. But also to me, it just comes down to the projection and what I end up getting in an actual lineup. So I really not the right guy to ask that question out of pocket. It's probably not Mikal Bridges, though, no matter what. And my gut would be Edie. But we'll see. Sam Merrill, 15%. Fields at 22. Not a great play here. Kind of feels like his fellow Sam Hauser does to me the other day, where when you have a bunch of high usage guys out, guys that hit threes sometimes pop up a little bit more than they should. Doesn't mean they end up good plays, especially if they don't get enough shots up or if they miss their shots. Sam Merrill, I'm not crazy about here with 23 minutes at 3,300. I think we have a lot better value to hit on. Isaac Okoro, 9%. Fields at 11. Not a big stand there. Stokastic has Allen at 17 minutes now, so they're knocking him down. All right. Same thing as yesterday with Jaylen Brown, where I think if Jaylen Brown had played, I think you still want to give him his run of minutes, but Stokastic obviously will know better. We'll see what their numbers have in a moment. DeAndre Hunter, 71% for the field. I'm getting 48. He doesn't project super well, though if you knock down some other Cavs, Hunter's going to come up a little bit more. He hasn't really shown any outlier opportunity with the lesser Cavs grouping so far. I would have Hunter with the lead guards off the court at about 22% usage and 0.96 fantasy points per minute. So Hunter's okay. I don't think he's as great of a play as Reeves, as Makovich, as Jerome, as Peyton, as Brooks. But if you did get Allen playing less minutes, Hunter is probably going to come up a little bit because the ball is going to start to funnel to him more with just like another legit player, not really in the mix as much. All right, let's go game by game here. And guys, if you can show some love, this is a lot of it's a lot of mental labor before the show. But obviously, I show up because I do this. I enjoy this. I get a lot of fun out of it. And of course, Unabated does help things along by paying you to do the streams. But of course, I'm here every Monday to Friday at 4 p.m. Time's going to move around a little bit in the coming weeks. Hit the notification bell. But soon we're going to be covering NBA playoffs and MLB slates on here. So please do join the mix in here. Subscribe, hit the like button, leave a comment. It all goes a long way for me here. Just one guy trying to do the work as best I can every day and dealing with the slings and arrows that come with the people therein. And check out Unabated as well, 20% off. You can still get in there, get all their data for the NBA playoffs. And frankly, you'd make more than enough money to pay for it. You actually stick with what they tell you, placing all the bets 30 minutes for a tip-off with a 5% or higher ROI. You could be up $60,000 if you did that every time throughout the year, and probably a little bit less if you do it through the playoffs, but it'll still go well for if you use Unabated's data. Their market-based stuff is also very strong for other sports. And check out Stokastic too, 15% off all their Sims tools, all their data, no matter what sport it is. Obviously, NBA will help you out a lot, but if you want to play some PGA this weekend for the Masters, you want to play, obviously, the things going, but they have other tournaments, MMA, NASCAR, go check it out. All 15% off at Stokastic. All right, game by game here. Let's see. No MLB slate, and DK has a 20K to first NBA slate. It's because MLB had the earlier slate today, and there's also like a second slate for MLB as well. So that's it. I don't agree with the pricing and the Masters stuff too, because it was such a gigantic tournament for a milli maker on the Masters. They just kind of ramp down the other tournaments when there's like a big one going, and they're dedicating a lot of effort to Masters, like secondary tournaments this weekend as well. So you're going to probably have shitty MLB and shitty NBA tournaments all weekend long, which not a surprise, but you got to play for the love of the game at this point. Once you get to NBA playoffs, you probably see a few bigger prize pools, will be my hope. For Cleveland, 112 implied points. I feel like at this point, we've talked about them enough. You're going to get Cavs. You should feel good about it. Stokastic in their morning run had Jared Allen for 27.5 minutes. But speculation here is that perhaps the prop markets, good call by Pan G here, saying that Allen's PRA being so low is probably making them drop the minutes a little bit. I still would assume if he's a starter, you get starter minutes. But if the prop line is that low, what we saw yesterday with Jaylen Brown was that eventually just Jaylen Brown didn't end up playing. That could happen for Jared Allen as well, because they could certainly just fill in with Okike, Tristan Thompson. I mean, they have Dean Wade healthy. They could easily not play Jared Allen today, so it's kind of odd that he's playing at all. That's it for Jared Allen. If the minutes are going to come down, you're not going to play him at all. Getting him at 11%, Fields at 9%, doesn't matter. Ty Jerome, still a lock button to me. I assume he'll start and get his full run of minutes back-to-back for him, but he's normally playing about 20 minutes as a backup anyway, and it should be both Mitchell and Garland going tomorrow anyway. So for Ty Jerome here, I think he's a strong play as it is. But for him, if you have some questions about him or doubts about him on a back-to-back, maybe knock him down a little bit. I would still have him in at least half your lineups. For me, he's going to be in every lineup. He's been a killer all year. I have him today in particular with the guards being out and Mobley also contributing to that. I have him for 1.5 fantasy points per minute. I don't see what Indiana's going to do to inhibit what Ty Jerome does best. DeAndre Hunter, a little bit lower on. Fields at 71. I'm at 48. That could change a little bit. If he didn't start, let's say, then you'd probably bump him down. Think he's going to be in the rotation getting minutes no matter what. Feels like him getting some more offense because he really doesn't normally on a game-to-game basis would be likely. I think Hunter's an okay play, and I think Allen playing less minutes potentially would make Hunter more appealing because he just will get more opportunity from the ball not stopping at center with Allen quite as much. Everybody else here, Sam Merrill, we talked about, not crazy about him. Okoro getting a little bit here. He probably can play some more minutes as well if Allen's minutes come down. A Jalen Tyson start could be interesting. He's a pretty good per minute producer out of that 1.02 today, counting for the situation and what his rates are with the various Cavs who aren't playing. So the Cavs rotation, watch the starters here, but no matter what, I think Ty Jerome will be a wheels up play. DeAndre Hunter, secondary, not quite as wheels up play. Indiana, Nothing really popping for me here. 7% Siakam, 7% Turner. Certainly possible one of these guys is an outlier day if Cleveland hangs in here. And Cleveland is a good enough team, even with the starters off, that I think the bench can hang in and be competitive, at least enough to get 4 quarters and run. But price tags here not working very well. You have to give up flexibility that you might want for Giannis too if you were to play Halliburton right now at 9,200. A little bit of a tough seed to play these guys, but that means people probably won't play them very much. So if you have a feel for Halliburton, Siakam, Turner, take it. Halliburton in particular, I think, can break the slate and people just won't have enough. All right. We got New York, 112.8 implied points here. We talked about Anunoby and Hart being out. Big rate increases for Towns and Brunson in particular. A little bit more for Bridges as well, but Bridges is just not good enough for me to get there. I'm getting him at 15%, Fields at 26. Above on Brunson, though, 33% for me, Fields at 22. Towns is my biggest stand. 75% of my lineups have him right now. Fields at 44. Same thing for him, to be honest, about as we talked about with Halliburton, except Towns projects a lot better. You are giving up some swappability, but doing it at center with Towns, I think, is okay because aren't any centers we're worried about losing later on the slate. Precious Achiuwa, not been a great producer with Hart and Anunoby off the court, but he'll get minutes no matter what, so he's in play at 3,300. Knicks, very playable tonight. I question what they're playing for. If things got weird, they could go to the bench a little bit earlier if Detroit were to totally kick their ass. I don't know why they would, but if that were to happen, things could go sideways for the Knicks. But as it is right now, Towns, Brunson, Bridges, Achiuwa, all in the mix. That would definitely favor Bridges at least. Detroit, I got not a lot here. 9% of Cade Cunningham, Fields at 8. 9% of Jalen Duren, Fields at a slightly lower version of 9%. No big stands here, but if Detroit were to kick their ass, Cade and Duren probably going off would be more likely. Cade can also be perfectly effective in a situation where the Knicks are good. Towns having a good day. Brunson's having a good day. Cade's the one on the way back. I don't hate Detroit here, but on this slate where there's so many great values, a little bit hard to play these guys, which does mean they're probably a little bit lower owned than they will be in most situations. Atlanta here, we got Trae Young, 26% for the field. I'm getting 15. Karis LeVert, 26% for the field. I'm getting 21. Really, LeVert on this slate, I don't know. I'm getting 21. I have to think that's going to change once Stokastic updates for all the New Orleans stuff. But Atlanta just looks really good here with their team total. The issue is these guys are really more than appropriately priced across the board, from Trae to Okongwu to Daniels. The other guys still cheap enough: LeVert, Reza Shea, Niang, but they're not playing as well as they were when they first came to Atlanta, or Reza Shea did during his hot streak. The total can support going to anybody here, but I don't love this spot as much. And I think this LeVert ownership's got to come down a lot. Trae, though, makes sense for sure as like just one of those pay-up guys. You should get some Trae, you should get some Cade. You should get any of those guys in that 9K range because any of them could go for 60 today and be the one you need. Brooklyn on their side, they're down Russell, Cam Johnson, Cam Thomas, all the guys that matter for the most part. They've also not been playing guys like Tyrese Martin lately, who's on a regular deal. They're playing their G League guys / 2A guys more. They are still, for some reason, playing Nick Claxton. I don't get why. Just start Drew Timme, play somebody else as the big, whatever. If there were not good value on the slate, I would get a Woman a little bit more. His rates come up. He's probably playing mid-20s minutes here. But they have a pretty deep rotation at this point for a team that is resting as many guys as they are. Brooklyn seemingly prepared for the outcomes that they're facing of being a shitty team. Nobody here stands out that much, but certainly you can take shots if you want to get unique. But really not high enough minutes. Nobody projected over 30. A little bit hard to love. New Orleans. So here's the quote-unquote fun one. So still 102.8 implied points, updated right before the show for Vegas totals, so we should be good here. 8-man rotation. That's like the gold standard of what you want of NBA DFS. So you should be playing a lot of Pelicans. As I talked about, I think in a cash game, you're probably talking 4 or 5 Pelicans. In tournament lineups, you're still probably talking me 3-4 Pelicans. Makovich and Reeves would be my favorites by a good margin. Keon Brooks, Elfrid Payton would be the second tier. Robinson, Earl, Kane, Lester Quinones, Kyler Kelly. I'm not really getting to as much in my head, but if one of them starts, bump them up immediately. You should play whatever Pelicans are starting. You should take as much of them as they give you. Really no issue playing Pelicans as much as you see fit, because you don't get situations like this too often where they are vacating legitimately the top 9-10 guys in their rotation now because all the dudes they have out. Let's count it just for the sake of fun. They're vacating Zion, Trey Murphy. I mean, Ingram counts at the beginning of the year. McCollum. Who else did I said Zion already. I should have used like a list on the screen. That probably would have helped. Vacating Olynyk, Brown, Missy. So we're already at 8. Hawkins would be up there too. Brandon Boston was ahead of all these guys in rotation. It's legit like 10 guys across the top of their rotation from the beginning of the year / parts of the year that are now not playing. So That's why you play New Orleans here. If you don't get it, I don't know how else to explain it more than that. But hop into the Discord if you want to learn more about NBA DFS. But like, if you don't get that, I don't know sort of how to say it more. Basically, when players are off the court, they leave behind points, leave behind rebounds, leave behind assists. New Orleans is probably leaving behind 99% of what those stats normally are throughout the course of a season. Why did Ty Drum and Spags look like cousins next to each other in the thumbnail? Spags secretly a hooper. I am a hooper. There's documented one-on-one footage of me from my Barstool days hooping. Did a pick 6 for $40 to win 1K, went 5-6. My only L was Wiggins over 17.5, scored 17. Welcome to gambling. I feel like the hook getting you is the worst part of it, but that's why it is. And that's also why, too, the guys on Twitter that are like doing the bullshit Vegas, I'm a capper thing. Whenever they lose, they put the hook. When they lose by like a half point, it's still a loss, unfortunately. But yeah, the hook is how betting, probably it's how most of the casinos are built that are made out there. Milwaukee, 118.3 implied points. So not our last game on the slate, but second to last one. Tip-off time is 8 p.m. Eastern today, so you need to know Giannis' status to really kind of do what you have to do with the slate. A lot of ownership coming Giannis' way. If he's playing, if he's not playing, it's going to be chaos after that point. You would want to get more Bobby Portis. You'd probably want to get some more Kuzma. Brooke Lopez will look better. Rollins and Kevin Porter will look better. As it is right now, it's only Giannis on this team. Portis a little bit for me. In fact, Portis played 29 minutes, though it was kind of including some, I think wasn't quite blowout run, but felt pretty adjacent to it for Milwaukee last game. No, it was just him with the closing group. It was a weird closing group, though. He closed alongside Giannis, Portis, Trent, Kevin Porter Jr., AJ Green. So Portis closed, got to 29 minutes in a game where Giannis played. Would think that means he's probably got at the very least mid 30 minutes upside here if Giannis is out. So Portis, I think getting some now and then getting more if Giannis is out is probably the move. Everybody else here, though, if Giannis is in, I kind of don't want it. So I only follow the cappers with boobs. Got to get something out of the BS well. And sometimes they get pregnant. You get even more out of it. You got Minnesota, 116.5 implied points. Like having a second capper to help her out. Minnesota, 116.5 implied points. KBJ's been nuking, but he's not a guarantee to close. And he, before that, had sat for Rollins in a few games. I would not chase 1 or 2 games of KPJ hitting a game winner. And like that, it's not a guaranteed situation for KPJ. But he's been good enough all year. He can always get going. He's a microwave off the bench. It's just like, does Ryan Rollins play well enough to keep him at bay? Does KPJ not fuck up enough to not keep himself iced? The sort of things you have to worry about with Kevin Porter Jr. But again, he's played well and he's hit literal game-winning shots. For Minnesota, 116.5 implied points here. Anthony Edwards, 23% for me. Fields at 25. You'll get more of these guys if Giannis is rolled out because you're going to have to swap the stuff here. Really, nobody stands out. Happy to get a little bit of Gobert, a little bit of Julius Randle, but there's just not a situation on Minnesota's side like there is anywhere else in the slate. Same thing for Memphis as well. And frankly, the totals aren't that great either, given the matchup with Memphis. But Memphis is playing a little bit less pacey lately with the coaching changes. For Memphis on their side, again, John Morant, I talked about since firing Taylor Jenkins, his rates haven't changed, even though the results have been a little bit better, largely because he's been shooting better. But for John Morant, I'll get there if Giannis is out. If he's in, I don't see how. Zach Edey, a little bit hard to play on the slate with his projection. He's been going nuts lately, but he's going against Gobert here. The minutes are definitely secure for him at this point, it seems, with a new coaching staff. But I have Carlo Makovich projected about 12 points higher. Again, it could move around with Stokastic's minutes looking different from mine, potentially when I import those instead. But I like something can hit in this game and it wouldn't be shocking, but I think the higher likelihood of there being multiple parts in this in a winning lineup at the end will be if Giannis is out and people have to swap and get some more of this game because it doesn't look the most appealing on paper to me. But it is 2 legit teams going head to head. So sometimes you get the upside. We're going to go to Unabated in a moment here, but this question from YSN, of course, has been a great guy in the chat. On a slate like this, how do you get different in tournaments? I mean, to me, the way to do it is you play as many lineups as you can with the guys that you really feel like are ones you want to build around. And frankly, for me, the last couple of weeks is what I've been really doing is like my guys who I like the most in slates, in particular the splash plays I talk about a lot, usually playing 70% of on a slate, sometimes 100%. It's been, I think, the best way for me to play right now. So I would say in my perspective, it's about pushing your chips in on the guys that feel completely unfadable. So to me, that's like your Antonio Reeveses, your Carlo Makoviches, your Ty Jeromes, and then let everything else around that be players that are hopefully getting lesser exposure. So you're not locked into having every lineup with John Morant. You're getting John Morant, you're getting Trae Young, you're getting Cade Cunningham. You're doing that, especially for 20 max. It's the kind of strategy I would do for 150 max, even more so. Another thing that I do to try to get unique as well is like if I have a highly projected player, I would try to also bump up in lineups without that player, the guys around him who would make him fail theoretically. So if you saw how much ownership I have for Karl-Anthony Towns, I'll have him in a lot of lineups. But lineups where I don't have him, I want to have Brunson more. I want to have Bridges more. I want to have Precious Achiuwa more. So I think to me, that's the way that I've been doing it and getting pretty good results. Finished top 75 again, the 4-point play yesterday, even though I can't fucking win that tournament while my pal Greg Ehrenberg wins it 2 days in a row. But that's really been a change for me down the home stretch here, which I feel more comfortable with, especially at this point of the year. But anyway, guys, we got one more run here. I guess 2 more runs through Unabated's bets. Let's enjoy it while we can. Let's enjoy this video as well about Unabated their traditional NBA projections, which would win you so much money if all you did was listen and call your mother. Screens, dynamic conditional projections, which these next 3 days, if you want to get in good bets over the weekend, boy, there's nothing that's going to help you out more than the dynamic conditional projections here, accounting for every situation of players with Q tags. God, this weekend's going to be chock full of Q tags. Real-time NBA news as well. If you don't want to go on Twitter or Blue Sky, you get your alerts right there on Unabated's bet screens. And of course, the graphs there when people come to see distributions of data simulated out for yourself, visualized beautifully is what you're getting with Unabated there with the graphs. Discord full of profitable gamblers. If you want to take some tips from people that actually know what they're doing, you can hop in there and do that. You'll be chatting and you'll be counting your money. You know the crowd is ready. Get ready. And here we are. You can see the graph here showing how much you'd be up if you placed every bet 30 minutes before tip-off with a 5% or higher sim ROI according to Unabated's data. You'd be up $60,000, and that's $100 units. If you place $10 units, you'd be up $6,000. And it sounds like it's a grift, but it's not really. It's actually thousands of bets layered in here to make these numbers work. It's work on your end if you're going to do this. But if you're going to strap in and try to make money off of betting, this is the way to do it. Having money in a bunch of different accounts, taking whatever the best lines are Unabated, hitting them honestly multiple times. If there's multiple books that have it, that's something as well. But if you want to do the work in betting, tools like Unabated's conditional NBA projections, some of the market stuff they have as well, will add a lot more value to you. So check it out for yourself and use that promo code SPLASH on Unabated, 20% off, link down below. It does still support the show, even though our time with Unabated as an official presenting sponsor of the show is wrapping up at the end of the regular NBA season. Let's go in, check out our points. Made it for the drums, the chance in the grass. You're getting all the important stuff. Is Vince Williams going to start? I can't tell you. It's a new coaching staff, new situation. It'd be hard for me to guess that. It doesn't seem like it'd be the right spot for him. I would think you want him off the bench because he's kind of a secondary ball handler. You don't need another one in that group. If I had to guess for them, real fast looking at it, I would say they are low on guys. Maybe a chance he starts, but he would not get the same usage. Aldama's starting with Morant, Jackson, Edey, Bane. I think would also be logical to me, but they do sometimes like him off the bench. But I don't think it's guaranteed it's a Vince Williams start. My handle's Chris Spags on everything. All right, so your best bets right now in points. Let's simulate this out. Pulling the projections. There we go. And you can see here the only conditional projection today is Giannis because he's the only one that's questionable that actually matters. Weird slate. It's a weird slate where all the Q-Tag guys we've gotten out in advance, except for one that determines the entire way the slate's going to go. All right. Let's sort here. Make sure we're pulling in all the lines. Sip of water. Are your best points bets right now, according to Unabated. Over 9.5 points on Obi Toppin here. Minus 125 odds on DraftKings Sportsbook. Looking very good with a 10.8% EV. Playable on PrizePicks as well with a 7.8% EV. Not available anywhere else. So Obi Toppin over 9.5 points today. Kind of a weird one to have that soft of a line on him. Really no benefits Obi Toppin, so I'm kind of curious why the line would be that inefficient. But over 9.5 on DraftKings, over 10 on PrizePicks. Looking good for Obi Toppin today. Luke Kennard under 5.5 points here on the Pick'em sites. Looking good. 6.8% EV for Luke Kennard under 5.5 points. On PrizePicks and Underdog, not available in your regular sports books there, so don't go there. Thank you, Jake. You made me laugh. You actually crushed that sip. That's what I'm really good at hydrating myself. Many people have said as a grown adult man. Carlo Makovic under 15.5 points. They've got him playing 32 minutes today, so I don't feel that off on the minutes projection for him. The points, though, under on here, looking good on Underdog for, according to Unabated's data, under 15.5 points for Carlo Makovic, not playable anywhere else. Aaron Nesmith, 6.1% EV on PrizePicks for the over 11 points for Aaron Nesmith. not playable on any other of the pick'em sites or sportsbooks. So only Aaron Neesmith on PrizePicks today over 11 points. Landry Shamet over 7.5 points. There's definitely minutes to go around for him now. 5.6% EV for Landry Shamet over 7.5 points. Looking best on FanDuel at minus 111 odds. And you probably don't want to play it anywhere else. Ty Jerome over 19 points. Well, there we go. You got to play Ty Jerome. Over 19 points on PrizePicks, 5.5% EV for Ty Jerome here. Lock him on DFS. Play the over on PrizePicks for Ty Jerome here over 19 points. Trendon Watford under 13.5 points, looking good on PrizePicks. And again, not available anywhere else. What is going on with the books today? But Trendon Watford under 13.5 points, 5.1% EV on PrizePicks. Rebounds up next. We're going to hit rebounds. We're going to hit assists. We'll hit PRAs, and then we'll hit the DFS sim and see whatever the fuck Stokastic throwing us today. Because like after they haven't updated all day, I've got no clue. I presume they're going to feed us a lot of Pelicans. I feel like they're going to be like, no, it's not Carlo Makovich. It's Jeremiah Robinson or else the play you want, idiot. That's how the sim's going to make me feel in about 10 minutes. Malik Beasley, under 2.5 rebounds, plus 120 odds on FanDuel. Looks the best. Playable as well on DraftKings Sportsbook with 14.1% EV for Malik Beasley, under 2.5 rebounds at plus 110 odds. Not good on your pick'em sites, so Beasley only on DraftKings and FanDuel under 2.5 rebounds. Tim Hardaway Jr. under 2.5 rebounds, minus 110 odds on DraftKings. Looks good. Not good anywhere else. So take the 15.2% EV for Tim Hardaway Jr. under 2.5 rebounds on DraftKings Sportsbook at minus 110 odds. Precious Achiuwa over 8 rebounds. He will be playing a lot of minutes today. Whether he's productive in those minutes, we'll find out. Rebound should be the easiest for him to hit, though. So 14.8% EV for Precious Achiuwa today on PrizePicks. Looking good on DraftKings and FanDuel. Underdog killed it. So not available there. Trae Young under 3.5 rebounds, looking good on PrizePicks with 12.3% EV. Also good on DraftKings and FanDuel. Not available on Underdog, though. So Trae Young, a triple here. Not quite the grand slam. PrizePicks, DraftKings, and FanDuel for Trae Young under 3.5 rebounds. Dennis Schroeder under 2.5 rebounds, 11.3% EV at minus 140 odds on DraftKings. Playable as well on FanDuel, but not on the pick'em sites. Keon Johnson under 3.5 rebounds, minus 118 odds on FanDuel looks the best. 9% EV for that. Same line on Underdog. So pick'em site Underdog and a regular sportsbook FanDuel for Keon Johnson under 3.5 rebounds. And Carlo Makovich, and under here, I don't love that. Under 8.5 points for Makovich. Good on your pick'em sites, the 8.4% EV. I want Makovich to hit all the overs, but maybe hedge against them with some unders on PrizePicks and Underdog. Assists coming up next. Another sim here. You watch me drink water like an expert one more time. That time I even swirled it around like I was a boxer. Didn't spit it out into a bucket, though. All right. Let's pull in all these bets. Let's resort. Ron Holland. Okay. Here's what you come to a betting show for. The Ron Holland over 0.5 assists. Looking good on Underdog Pick'ems, 11.7% EV. Not so much anywhere else. So Ron Holland only on Underdog over 0.5 assists. Dyson Daniels under 4.5 assists, looking good on PrizePicks, DraftKings, and FanDuel. Line's been killed on Underdog, so Daniels under 4.5 assists, good on PrizePicks and good on the regular sports books. Malik Beasley under 1.5 assists, good on Underdog, not anywhere else. 10.9% EV for your pick'ems on Underdog today, under 1.5 assists from Malik Beasley. Tyrese Halliburton under 10.5 assists. All right, double-digit assists for him, huh? Minus 135 odds on DraftKings Sportsbook. It's a 10.1% EV. You could play it on PrizePicks, 8.1% EV on there for under 10 assists. Though you are losing definitely the push there to double digits, a little bit tough. But anyway, for FanDuel, don't want it on there. PrizePicks and DraftKings only. Tyrese Halliburton's under on assists. Dennis Schroeder under 4.5 assists, good on DraftKings. Not so much on FanDuel, but good on PrizePicks. Under 4.5 assists for Dennis Schroeder. Good on those sites that are DraftKings and PrizePicks. Karis LeVert over 2.5 assists, looking good on your pick'em sites, 6.8% EV. Not available on DraftKings or FanDuel. See, LeVert over 2.5. If you're playing pick'ems today, you play LeVert over 2.5 and get 6.8% EV. And Julius Randle, 6.2% EV on over 4.5 assists, minus 125 odds on DraftKings and FanDuel. Same line there, looking good for that 6.2% EV for Julius Randle over 4.5 assists. And PRA is the last step in our journey here before we run a DFS sim. We find out the answers to the test, right? Because that's what sims are for. I like water, man. I try to drink, 120 a day at the very least, 120 ounces. I think ideally you're supposed to drink, half an ounce for your body weight? Drink water. Keeps you young. That's the ad for it. That's a level of sponsor we're getting now. We get ads for water here on the channel. Obi Toppin, over 15.5 PRAs. Very good in the pick'em sites, 11.1% EV. Probably don't want it on DraftKings. So Obi Toppin, over 15.5 PRAs. PrizePicks and Underdog, take it now. Malik Beasley, under 19.5 PRAs. Also looking good on the pick'em sites. Under 19.5, getting 10.6% EV from Malik Beasley. Still playable under 19.5 PRAs on DraftKings Sportsbook, but less EV on there. Luke Kennard, under 10 PRAs, good on PrizePicks, not available anywhere else. Let's take the 10.6% EV for Luke Kennard, under 10 PRAs on PrizePicks. Keon Johnson, under 19.5 PRAs, also only good on PrizePicks, though close to playable on FanDuel. For Keon Johnson, under 19.5 PRAs, getting 9.7% EV on PrizePicks. Nikhil Alexander-Walker, over 12.5 PRAs, good on Underdog, getting a 9.3% EV. Mike Conley, over 14.5 PRAs, 8.5% EV on DraftKings Sportsbook, but you probably don't want it on your pick'em sites. And last but not least, to close us out here in the world of Unabated for today, before we take our last magical run here on stream tomorrow, we got Dennis Schroeder under 16.5 PRAs, minus 115 odds on DraftKings, gets you 8% EV. Still, actually, Grand Slam here, good everywhere. Definitely the best on DraftKings, but playable on PrizePicks, playable on Underdog, playable on FanDuel. So it took the entire time, but we got one Grand Slam, all the sportsbook / pick'em sites for Dennis Schroeder under 16.5 PRAs. And again, Unabated is a great tool. You want to spend more time with it, check out more sportsbooks, including all the ones you can see on screen here. You get plus EV lines at all of those. Use the data. Check it out for yourself. Unabated, 20% off. Link down below, or use that promo code SPLASH for yourself. And let's go to the last step in our journey here. Stokastic, updated at 4:05 p.m. Let's see what they got for us. Real barn burner going on in Coors. We're being sarcastic because I saw it was not going well based on the earlier run. Smoke an ounce, drink 120. There you go. Smoking an ounce in a day would be a little bit much, I think. I smoke an ounce like in about a month and a half. Drink half your body weight in H2O every day. That's right. Drink 120 pounds. If you weigh 240 pounds, drink 120 pounds of water, and oh boy, you are going to die very quickly. 1-1. Oh, man. Baseball's tough. I've not been putting in enough entries in baseball, so every day I'm putting in entries and just like donating, which has not been fun. Opening day was good. I think the first maybe 3 slates were good. This last week has been tough, man. Like the Mets stack yesterday did fucking nothing at all, and I went out of my way to pick that one. It's not great right now. I need to get the NBA stuff working as well as the MLB stuff would be the goal for me, but I guess I got to sacrifice somewhere. Yes, in fluid ounces. That's correct. In fluid ounces. Not in pounds. Not in pounds. Rip Vlad, veteran day off. Oh, my fucking home run pick got the day off. I didn't even see that because I was busy doing NBA shit. Oh, that's annoying. I didn't play him. I played Bichette in my Toronto stack that I had in the lineup I put in. But all right, well, what a day. I knew it was gonna be an ugly MLB DFS slate when it's like, oh, Gavin Williams is your chalk at pitcher. That's how it goes. Baseball variance is annoying. And yet, over the course of a season, the most predictable sport because the rates all end up lining up the way they're supposed to. But the issue is you have to play every fucking day and make the right plus EV choices every day. But, that was the thing when I first joined Stokastic, then Osmo back in the day, was like, they were good at NBA because that's a predictable sport. MLB, though, was the one where guys like Alex Baker, Tom, one of the founders as well, had made so much money because MLB, it just finds its depth over the course of a season. But, I've always enjoyed NBA the most because on a night-to-night basis, I feel like I'm the most alive for everything. But MLB, if you just stack against the chalk pitcher some days, you might win all the money. So that's the trade-off, I guess. But here's Stokastic data. We already looked at what my data looked like overlaid in the Stokastic sim. Now we'll see what just a Stokastic sim has for us with updated data. So the top ROI lineup right now, Tyrese Halliburton, Sam Merrill, Antonio Reeves, Giannis, Precious Achiuwa, Elfrid Payton, Carlo Makovich, and Ja Morant. So right now, Stokastic with me on Carlo and Antonio. Just 2 funny names to have here for basketball players. Carlo and Antonio, both my gay lovers on the side, but also 2 of the best DFS players of the night. Jalen Brunson, Dyson Daniels at number 2, Antonio Reeves again, Carlo Makovich again, Onyeka Okongwu makes this one, Halliburton makes this one, Jeremiah Robinson Earl is in this one, and Elfrid Payton as well. At number 3, you got Ty Jerome, Sam Merrill, Mikal Bridges, Carlo Makovich, Onyeka Okongwu, Elfrid Payton, Giannis again, Rudy Gobert. At number 4, you have Cade Cunningham, Sam Merrill again, Jamal Cain. All right, so we're digging down the Pelicans rotation. Giannis, Okongwu, Elfrid Payton, Makovich, and Robinson Earl. So it seems like they trust Makovich the most so far. At number 5, Halliburton, Dyson Daniels, Antonio Reeves, Precious Achiuwa, Karl-Anthony Towns, and Jalen Brunson, with Robinson Earl and Elfrid Payton. Nothing too surprising there. Maybe a little bit less in a Ty Jerome than I am, for sure, I think is one observation so far. Your top ROI players, they fucking love Drew Timme. Stokastic, sometimes the data feels like a guy that got a thing right once. And like they keep going. And I know it's obviously not the data. In fact, the thing they have is like such a longer term sample size of things. That is what it is. Why you keep getting Jared Butler and all that in the Sims. But for Drew Timme, it's like he hit once this year, and it's like every time Stokastic is like, you got to try this Drew Timme guy out, man. He's going fucking nuts. But if Claxton is in, I just don't see how you go to Drew Timme. Either way, he's your top ROI player for Stokastic, 14% ROI right now. That's how that is. Onyeka Okongwu, negative 2% ROI. He's at number 2. Halliburton at number 3 with a negative 5% ROI. If he plays 4 quarters of run against a depleted Cleveland team and they hang in that game, you probably get your Cleveland guys right, hopefully, and you're getting Halliburton maybe having an outlier day. So a little bit surprised to see him this high in terms of the ROI guys, but interesting to note. Sam Merrill at number 4, seemingly one of actually, I guess technically be Stokastic's favorite Cleveland Cavalier right now. Jeremiah Robinson Earl at number 5, Elfrid Payton at number 6, Mikal Bridges at number 7. Oh boy. I hate when Stokastic is like taking the guys that are like direct leverage against the guys that I really feel strongly about. I think that's what we're getting. Elfrid Payton here. We got 88% exposure for Elfrid Payton. Fields projected to be at 62%. So Stokastic really loving Elfrid Payton, highest exposed player on the slate. Carlo Makovich at number 2, 73% compared to the Fields now 63% projected ownership. So not a big stand on Makovich, but definitely above the field and one of the chalkiest plays of the slate. Jeremiah Robinson Earl, 49%, Fields at 31. Robinson Earl, another big, and they're short on bigs. So if you're not playing Makovich, I think Robinson Earl / Kyler Kelly look a lot better. If you're playing Makovich, though, maybe dull him a little bit more. Ty Jerome. Stokastic wants you to fade Ty Jerome. I think we know how I feel about that. I feel the same way I feel like when they tell you to fade Quentin Grimes, only for him to get all grimy up in your face, whether it's March 24th or not. We got Ty Jerome here at 49%. Fields at 66. They don't like him as much, but he's still in half your lineup, so we'll take it, I guess. Antonio Reeves, 47% compared to the Fields, 51. I like Reeves more than they do, especially with shooting guard, small forward. But Ty Jerome, Reeves, 2 players that Stokastic's a little bit lower on than I am. Giannis, 43% compared to the Fields, 36% ownership. Find it hard to believe that number would be that low, but maybe people will be worried about playing him because of the Q tag. Giannis, still a good play here, coming in 43% of Stokastic's top 150 lineups. And Precious Achiuwa, 42%, Fields at 50%. So I am also lower on Achiuwa here. His rates without Harden and Anunoby are just not that great. So that's what that is. Your highest leverage guys right now, never forget March 24th. Ty Jerome shout-out feels right to me, but not to Stokastic, I guess. They want you to be hand-holding with the field. And I say, cram that fucker Ty Jerome into every hole. We got Elfrid Payton, 26% leverage for him. Your highest leverage player, according to Stokastic's top 150. As of right now, 4:54 p.m. on the East Coast, is Elfrid Payton. Number 2 is Jeremiah Robinson Earl, 18% more than the field. Onyeka Okongwu at number 3, 14% more than the field, 27% overall in the top 150. Jalen Brunson, 13% leverage, 33% exposure in the top 150, compared to the Fields of 19%. If you're not playing Towns, you play Brunson, I guess. Tyrese Halliburton, 12% more than the field. He's going to barely be played, only 7% ownership. Stokastic wants you to get 20. Mikal Bridges, 10.5% more than the field. He has been so dog shit. He should benefit from having Hart and Anunoby out, but the rates don't really show him being like a great player by any stretch. And Drew Timme, they want you to get 10.5% more than the field. Stokastic loves Drew Timme. That's what they want you to hear. Towns, you're still getting a third of your lineups with Towns, but negative 16% leverage on Towns. Ty Jerome, we saw already negative 17% leverage. All right. Your most negative leverage guys, Trae Young. Trae Young now expect 40% ownership going to Trae Young now. Seems aggressive. Stokastic only wants you to get 20, though, so negative 20% leverage on Trae Young. Anthony Edwards, the field's not expected to play about 50%, so they really moved up all the other pay-up option guys. Anthony Edwards, 49% ownership. Stokastic wants you to get 31, so negative 19% leverage. Ty Jerome at number 3, negative 17% leverage, only playing him in 49% of lineups, as opposed to the field 66. Karl-Anthony Towns, negative 16% leverage, only 33% of the top 150 lineups, as opposed to the field's 49. DeAndre Hunter, negative 14% leverage. They're barely playing him, only 15%. The field's at 29. They must have bumped his minutes down, if I had to guess. Keon Brooks, only 7%. Fields at 16. So they must have given Brooks less minutes than I did as well. And Miles Turner, only 3% in Stokastic's top 150. Fields at 10. So basically about negative 8% leverage. All right. Well, one more run here, guys. Please make sure to hit that like button and subscribe again at this time of year, especially with the NBA dying down and tournaments getting small. Your guys' support goes a long way for me here. So please show some love if you can. Hit the like button, subscribe, leave a comment if you're watching after the fact. It all does help out the equation here, fighting off that YouTube algorithm. Go check out Unabated as well. 20% off, link down below. Stokastic, 15% off, link down below. And join the Discord, especially now at this time of year if you want to support this kind of content. Some of the presenting sponsor stuff is going to be dying down a little bit here, but I'll still keep doing the work. And the more of you guys join here, the more inspired I am to do more work. So please join down below. $5, get in the Discord and be a good presence on there. That's the other thing. Your presence is a present for me. All right, splash plays of the day. It's still Ty Jerome for me. Still Antonio Reeves for me. It's still Makovich for me. Whatever happened with Stokastic is not going to back me down off of that. I still think getting a mix of Peyton Brooks, Jeremiah Robinson, Earl has to be a key part of things. Those guys I view as secondary Pelicans pieces, but if you're not playing Makovich, Robinson, Earl should be more appealing. If you're not playing Reeves, Peyton and Brooks should be more appealing. You can play those combos together, but I think Reeves, to me, and Makovich are the top of the pecking order. And Ty Jerome as well, but not the same team. Besides them, still like Towns. If Giannis plays, I like him. If Giannis is out, Portis will be a play I get a lot. And I'll take shots at Kuzma and co as well. There's a lot to know left on the slate, guys. So I really try to key in on Pelicans value. If you can, pick your favorite ones, but you got to be playing, I think, 3, 4 of them in most lineups, and maybe in a tournament play 2, but you're getting pretty thin at that point. Pelicans are where the value is. Make sure to gamble responsibly, guys, even though it's always money time here. Follow me at Chris Spags. Follow the show at Splash Play Bets. Shouts to the chat, as always, for making me never forget March 24th. I'll see you guys again tomorrow for more at 4 p.m. So, hey, enjoy your day, guys. And, of course, good luck. And let's survive this NBA slate. Maybe make some money, too. That'd be pretty cool. All right. Bye, guys.